Welcome back to Double Fries No Slaw. A special guest as we get ready for this Alabama game, CJ Wilson from Doak Talk. Bro, how's it going, man?
It's going pretty good, man. Glad you're able to have me on. It's always a pleasure to come on to a platform like Double Fries No Slaw. Got to make sure you say the double fries every time, right? So you have to be on.
Absolutely, man. I'm just like a day and a half away. Actually, when this comes out, I guess I'll just be like a day away from getting some no slaw up there and double fries from Guthrie. So, bro, you've been crushing it, man. And it's been really too long. We should have already done this, but man, I really do enjoy a lot of your stuff. I don't catch everything, but I do check out quite a bit. And I love how you've grown, I mean, we'll get into football talk here. Just let me, sing CJ's praises for a minute, but I love how you've grown. You stayed true to like what you want to do. I really think it's cool to see people like find a lane and then stay in that, which is what I try to do that too, right? Like I don't try to break every bit of news or, we all do pre-records and stuff for commitments, but like just being able to have a take and staying true to yourself. I think you've done a great job with it. It's been cool to watch you grow for sure.
Yeah, I appreciate that, bro, 100%. And you were part of the previous platform with me and things like that. So the growth within these 2 years has been crazy. The support as well too. Having guys like you on deck, to kind of teach me the way a little bit in regards to how to do certain things when moving on your own and things like that. So yeah, man, stepping out on my own has been great. Growing within the platform has been amazing, and also just the support within the FSU community, man, is really second to none. There's been a lot of love on different platforms throughout. We all got one common goal, so it's been really helpful within this journey, to show to see the support from other platforms or things like that. So shout out to you guys. I appreciate you 100%.
Yeah, no, it's been cool to watch it. And yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, people just want FSU content. I think like back like 5-10 years ago when we were like starting to get into content and media, like you saw it as like competition. Oh, this guy, if they're watching this one, they're not watching mine. Like, man, people just want good content. So if you put good content out, it don't really matter what the channel is, what the name is. If you put crappy content out, nobody's gonna watch it. Like that's just how it works, man. Like it doesn't matter who you're with. Like I've seen On3 videos go for like 400 views, like they flop too, so like if you put good stuff out, man, and FSU fans are crazed for content, so I'm all about it now. But let's talk about the game a little bit. What would you say, like what Bama's so loaded? We were talking about this before the start of this thing. Their roster from top to bottom is really good. Like there's no doubt there wouldn't be many teams that Bama wasn't a favorite against this weekend. If they were playing 130 teams, Bama would be a favorite. But is there one area on their roster that you feel like Florida State could look to exploit a little bit on Saturday? I will get right back to chatting with CJ, but first, I want to let you guys know a lot of you have been on the hunt for the best deals on FSU Alabama tickets, and I'm pumped to share something with you once again. I want to give the sponsor of today's video, SeatGeek, a huge shout out. They have over 28 million downloads. They're the #1 rated ticketing app, packed with more than 70,000 events, concerts, sports, festivals, and more. College football season has started, and the game is just a day or two away, so timing is perfect. I used SeatGeek to buy tickets for a buddy of mine that was coming in town, saved money. Their app is so smooth to navigate. It is so easy to use. Each ticket is rated on a scale of 1 to 10, so you know if you're getting a good deal or not. Green is good, red is bad. So go check out SeatGeek. Every purchase backed by their buyer guarantee. The best part, you can use our code DOUBLEFRIES for $20 off your tickets at SeatGeek. $20 off your first purchase with code DOUBLEFRIES. All caps, Double Fries, no spaces. Just click the link in the description to download the app. They automatically add the code in for you. Huge shout out to SeatGeek. I'll see you at the game on Saturday.
Yeah, so if it's one area, it may be the quarterback position, in my opinion. And now, Grant, I do think Ty is a talented player, but I've been telling a lot of people this behind closed doors, and even on my own platform. I feel like we're catching Alabama at the perfect time, right? So you have Ty Simpson going to his first start, hasn't played any meaningful snaps at Alabama, a lot of mop-up duty and things like that. This is a completely different ball game, right? So for first start on the road, and you're on the road in a hostile environment, and it's not your typical FSU type of environment, right? It's going to be a lot of excitement once these fans walk through the concourses and things like that, get to their seats and see the new energy, the new Doak Stadium. So you have a week one against FSU on the road, new stadium. It's going to be a lot of energy and juice. It's not ideal for a first year starting quarterback to have their start within an atmosphere like that. So if it's any position, in my opinion, it would be the quarterback position. And Tony White himself, like we've been hearing it all preseason. Of course, you saw it last year, but hearing it from Tommy Castellano, Gus Malzahn in regards to all the window dressing and how much movement you see within the defense in regards to all the pre-snap different looks you would get. So a perfect opportunity to kind of confuse a new quarterback that doesn't have a lot of experience. So in my opinion, it'll be the quarterback position.
Yeah, especially, I mean, you think about, Florida State's going to have a tougher, there's no doubt it's going to be tough to win this game. This isn't a Florida State team of 15 years ago where you just roll out there and just because you're Florida State, you go out and win games. But if you're thinking about like paths to a win, a couple of turnovers, which we were terrible last year at we were terrible at a lot of things, but we were terrible at turning teams over. I think we had 6 takeaways in 12 games. That's got to be better. And with a really aggressive defense, a very energetic Doak Campbell Stadium, and a really good secondary. Like if there's one position group on this team that I'm really high on, right? And this is no slight to any other position group because I like a lot of the talent they brought in. But if there's one position group I feel really, really good about, it is our DBs, right? And we've known the DBU moniker forever. But Pat Surtain, probably the best coach on the staff, and that room is probably the best room that we have. I don't know if it's Wilson, I don't know if it's Rawls, I don't know if it's a young guy like Arnaud getting in there and making a play, but somebody in that group has to go out and make some plays on Saturday, especially against a Ryan Williams and a talented wide receiver group that they've got.
So it's funny you mentioned that. So I do believe our best position group is the defensive back, and on the flip end, Bama's best position group, in my opinion, is their receiver room. They've done a hell of a job recruiting receivers. You know, Ryan Williams, a true freshman last year, all world, ended up getting Horton from Miami, who produced for Cam Ward this past season. So, but on the flip end, and you also mentioned something in regards to Tony White and things like that, and kind of throwing Alabama off guard and catching them in situations that you want to catch them in. If we can stop the run, which has been the mantra of Tony White, like, I mean, you go back to the Ohio State game, I know I keep harping on that, like they really, and we talk about a offensive line that had a bunch of guys drafted, 2 running backs within the top 2 rounds, if I'm not mistaken, from Ohio State. Real physical team that can run the football. They held them to under 100 yards rushing. They also had them go for 1 for 10 on third downs, if I'm not mistaken. So if we could get Alabama, stop the run, which they are without their starting running back, and I think they're starting left or right guard, whichever one. Yeah. So if we could make it tough in regards to winning the early downs and putting them in third and long situations, that's when you can really see the Tony White dynamic in regards to pass rush situations and turnover situations with making it confusing within the secondary. And one more thing in regards to last year turnovers and just the previous years prior to that, Allen for the defense was vanilla, cut and dry. You knew what he was doing. I was speaking to some people within the Clemson staff, and they stated like, just we know what you're going to get from FSU as a cover 4 base scheme where you run a lot of man coverage concepts and you have 2 deep safeties for the majority of the time. You're going to get that pretty much every down snap, man coverage, and some type of variation. So it's very easy to scheme against that. So I say that to say this: we should see a lot of turnovers within this new defense for the simple fact that we are going to be very diverse in what we do as far as attacking defenses, giving different coverages and giving different looks as well. Pre-snap, you knew what you was going to get from FSU, and post-snap, you knew you were going to get from FSU this year's.
Yeah, and not to harp so much on last year, but I mean, it was always just death by 1,000 cuts. I will say the one thing we didn't give up is we didn't give up a lot of deep shots, right? Like we were playing high on everything, but man, it was just death by 1,000 cuts, and teams just seemed very content to just take the underneath stuff against FSU. And it was teams didn't have to get exotic. Teams could stay very vanilla. And I don't think they'll be able to do this. But you mentioned the way that Florida State plays against the run. With Miller out, Jaden Roberts is the offensive lineman that's not playing in this. I do think there's a chance for Florida State to have more success stopping the run, which is a crazy thing to say against any Alabama team of the last 2.5 decades. Like nobody stops the run against Bama. But if you can limit their run, and they're not in a lot of 3rd and 3s, 2nd and 4s, really short yardage situations because they're getting 5, 6, 7 yards a pop on first down, that has to be one of the biggest keys of the game. If you don't stop their run, we'll have to come out of that. The secondary will have to creep down, and that's a big fear of mine. without Jim Miller in, without Roberts, maybe it's a little bit easier. And I think I have a little bit more confidence in this defensive line to stop the run than I do to rush the passer, right? I think Williams will do well rushing the passer. I'm not super confident in our ability to get after the quarterback, but I am confident that they can at least slow down that run a little bit. Now, again, I don't want to say anybody can just stop Bama's run, but if I have to pick one that I feel better about, it is kind of slowing them down from a running perspective.
No, I agree. And like I said, that's our mantra. What the defensive staff mantra is to stop the run. And from how we're built, I do think we have better runs to the defenders versus pass rush situation defenders. Now, I also think Tony White does a hell of a job in regards to what he has available as far as from a personnel standpoint. He does his best to tailor to their strengths. So we're going to see different variations in regards to guys getting after the passer. It's going to be a pass rush by committee, whether it's, defensive lineman, linebacker, or a defensive back in some variation. I think we can see that. You saw a lot of, if you remember back to 2014 um, with the coordinator at that point in time, Charles Kelly, and how we used Jalen Ramsey. Ramsey blitzed a lot. Even Lamarcus Jordan the previous year at the start position under the previous defensive coordinator.
Pruitt that year, yeah.
Yeah, Jeremy Pruitt out in Tennessee. So Lamarcus Jordan was an all-world, all-American defensive back in that start position along with Jalen Ramsey. Look for Earl Little to be something similar to those guys. I'm not saying he's going to be as good. Of course, you're talking about five-star premium talent, but as far as from an impact standpoint and what the defensive coordinator is asking him to do, Earl Little should fit that bill.
Yeah, I on the other side of the ball, Florida State, again, not celebrating an injury here, but Florida State gets a little bit of good news. Defensive lineman Tim Keenan not going to play in this game, going to need surgery. I'd expect him back by SEC play by some reports that we're seeing already. But one way or the other, he's not playing in Doak on Saturday night. That's good for Florida State. They've got to, I mean, I think about like that Georgia Tech game last year and how Georgia Tech was able to establish the run so well. And really when they were healthy, that was a big part of their offense. I think for Florida State in this, you're looking for a path to win. You've got to establish the run and shorten the game, right? It'd be great to hit Squirrel White on a couple of deep balls and get some easy points. Absolutely. But I think establishing the run, whether that's a mix of, Chroma and Sawchuk and Roydell, former Bama guy, getting it done, or mixing in the option with Castellanos, whatever it takes, Florida State's got to be able to run the ball effectively, because if they don't and they become one-dimensional, and first of all, you're relying on Castellanos to go out there and win you a game with his arm. First of all, I don't have a lot of confidence in that. That's not a Tommy shot. But second, I don't have a lot of confidence with Bama having one of the best secondaries in the country being loaded with talent. So some good news maybe with Keenan not playing. Again, we talked about this off air. They got another 4 or 5 star ready to step up right behind him. So it's not like, oh, wow, now it's going to be easy to run the ball. But if Florida State can't run the ball effectively, it's going to be a long day on Saturday.
Yeah, and just to kind of echo what you just stated as far as running the football, you want to run the football and establish a run. I think Gus, the past few years at UCF, they had a top 20 rushing attack, if I'm not mistaken. So he knows how to run the ball, and he's creative in running the football, too. I think it's going to be key against Alabama, getting creative, because I do like an offensive line. Don't get it confused. But from a talent standpoint, if we just, like I said, just want to run at Alabama from a physical standpoint, man for man, go straight at you, we won't win that matchup. Yeah. You have to get creative within the running game and creative with your play calling and variation of the quarterback run, which I do think Gus will implement within this offense, within this game. And who else would you want to call plays, right, against Alabama other than a Gus Malzahn type of offensive coordinator when you have the tools you have on offense? So I do think that's going to be key. And also, you don't want to get in a pin your ears back situation to where Bama just pins their ears back and rush the passer, because I think they'll win that as well too. So I agree with you. You have to establish the run. You want to establish the run to keep the clock running and keep the change going forward. And you also have to play within yourself and be smart and don't turn the ball over. Don't do too much. Take what Alabama gives you. If you have a Castellano, he's had issues in fall camp with just throwing the ball away and moving on to the next play. When you have a dynamic athlete like him, he feels like he can make every damn play, which you don't have to do. And that goes to Mike Norvell and Gus Malzahn kind of reel him in as far as the development to play within himself. So if we can do that and limit the turnovers and take what Alabama gives us, doesn't have to be a 10-yard, 15, 20, 40, 50-yard play every time. We can take the 4 to 5-yard play, 4 to 5-yard round from the quarterback if it's not looking great down the field. Get what you can, stay ahead of the change. If you stay ahead of the chains and not get behind the sticks, which has been an issue for FSU and pretty much doomed us last year a lot. Getting behind the chains early and getting the early passing downs. If we can stay ahead of the chains and keep the defense honest in what they and how to defend us, we should be fine.
Yeah, I like Florida State's offensive line to be much improved this year. I know you feel the same way. But I think just like the defensive line, their strength probably is against the run. I think the offensive line, their strength is going to be with the run as well. I feel a lot more confident with our guys' run blocking. Now, again, does that mean you want to run right out Bama? I don't think Florida State's going to bully Bama in this game, really in any subset, but certainly not our offensive line versus their defensive line. But I also think that Gus and Herb Hand and Mike, with all of their input, will be very creative, or at least try to be, right? Like, you can only be as creative as you are talented. But I think they'll be really creative with how they use Tommy. It wouldn't surprise me at all, and this is just me guessing 100%, it wouldn't surprise me at all if they save some of that too to really kind of feel out how Bama's going to play. So I don't expect some crazy trick play on play one. You know, you go up 7-0, that doesn't matter in a matchup like this. But what will they hold back for the second, third, fourth quarters to try and, if you're in the game late, right? Because at the end of the day, a loss is a loss. You lose by 10, you lose by 14, it doesn't really matter. But what will they hold back for the second half that Bama's not able to adjust with? Like, kind of that game within the game. So it wouldn't surprise me if Castellanos isn't insanely mobile in the second quarter. Now, you go down early and you got to come back early. Maybe that's a different story. But I wouldn't be surprised if they save a couple of things with the quarterback run for later in the game, either to come back or to put a game away if they have a solid chance. But yeah, I mean, right at the end of the day, all that said, to say running is going to be huge in this. And if you're not doing it effectively, if you're not pulling those shots at the right time, offense and defense, right? Whether that's a trick play or just something that's kind of disguised, or when you're bringing blitzes and stuff. I don't know if you want to send the house on play one or whatever, save that for certain times. I think that game within the game is something that I'm excited to see from Gus and Tony and really the whole staff.
I agree. And that may be, I think that could be FSU's edge. Well, if there is an edge within this game, that could be it, right? Because we're talking about pure talent. It's not close. It's Alabama. So we have to do certain things to scheme around, right? And that game within the game could definitely help. And also, you got to understand the type of coaches FSU have on staff from from an experience standpoint. Of course, we have, Zach Arnott, who was the Mississippi State head coach. He's off the field now, and he was a hell of a defensive coordinator during this time. You combine him with Tony White, and Tony stated that to have those type of voices within the room is being very helpful. So I agree with you 100%. The game within the game is going to be huge for FSU, and I do think if FSU is going to win this game, it's going to have to be a coaching edge in certain positions and things like that from a play calling standpoint, Florida game, whatever it may be. And I do think FSU has a collection of veteran coaches that could help within this game, and I absolutely believe it'll help as the season progresses and moving forward.
Yeah, to me, the biggest thing is I would really like, and I think all of FSU fans would agree with this, I really do want to see the effort be better this year, right? I understand that Bama's really talented. There's a reason they're a 2-touchdown favorite on the road. Florida State could go out and play relatively well and still lose this game by like 14, 17 points. There's no doubt. Bama is that talented, and you could play fairly well, and some late touchdowns could happen, or keep a game close in the fourth quarter and Bama kind of pulls away. I'd like to see the effort ratcheted up a little bit, because the worst thing you could do is let a loss on Saturday turn into, I don't think they're going to lose the next 2 games anyway, but you can't let that turn into a loss at Virginia, and then a loss against Miami, and then a loss against Pittsburgh. Like, you've got to have enough mental toughness, and that's something we can speculate on all day. We won't know that until we see it play out. But I would like to see the mindset of this team be a little different than last year. Man, even that BC game in week 1, game 2, you could already see some of the heads starting to hang in that one. Yeah,
that season was done.
Yeah, they quit halfway through that one, man, and you could tell the offense wasn't moving the ball, and they just knew they could tell, man, like, this ain't what we signed up for. And so no matter what happens on Saturday, I'd like to see that change a little bit this season. CJ, where can people go ahead?
To kind of piggyback on that point, because I think we have kind of seen signs of this a little bit in regards to being lackadaisical, not giving 100%. The shit won't be rewarding. The shit won't fly for the new staff. Excuse my friend. So you heard Tony White during this press conference kind of call some players out about effort, working hard on things like that. The guys who do this on a consistent basis will get rewarded, and the guys who won't be. And then you look at the depth chart. And you look at the two deep within the depth chart. There was a lot of questions as far as two walk-ons, the safety and linebacker position. But I do think I think it's a combination of both. Yes, we need better talent around the team. That's 100% undoubtedly true. But at the same damn time, we're talking about the most talented room within the football team, right? We got some 4-star guys within that safety room that could be within that starting lineup, right?
Yeah.
But they're too deep. So I really do think that's a message within Tony White and saying, hey, the guys who do stuff the right way, who play fast, who play physical, they're going to get rewarded. They could play within my team, they can play within my program, and I could coach up and scheme up the rest. If you can play fast, physical, and give the effort, the rest I could work with. So I do think Tony White is kind of echoing that message to certain players within the team, and it's only going to continue, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's a great point. I ain't really thought about that. There are guys that we expected to be starters when we started, back in April. Expect to be that are not. They're on the two deep, and then there's guys that are really on the offense side of the ball. There's guys that were really highly recruited. They weren't even on the depth chart. They weren't even on the two deep that was put out. And so I think that is an obvious change. That I shout out to you for saying that and thinking of that and realizing that. There were guys that played last year that should not have been on the field. They played because of their name. And I'm not here to call people out or dog people, but this year there does seem to be a change with that. Now, obviously, that's just a depth chart. We need to see it on Saturdays, but I do think that they'll keep in line with that. That's a great call out. I'll ask for a prediction in a second, but where can people follow you? Where can they find all your content, all your work, all the things, if they want to keep up with what you got going on?
Yeah, so you guys can follow me on social media, CJ Wilson 850 on Twitter, on X. If you guys get your information from there, I know a lot of the year-round no crazies are on X and get that information year-round. So you can definitely follow me on there. And if you want content via YouTube, subscribe to the Doak Talk podcast. We just hit 2-year mark. We got like 5K subscribers within that 2-year mark. So doing pretty good from a growth standpoint, still trying to move it forward. So go ahead and hit that like button on the on videos and subscribe to the channel. And that's where you guys can find me.
Yeah, we'll link that in the description. Listen, I know a lot of you are diehards, so go check out CJ's channel. Go subscribe. We subscribe here, so if you're wanting to follow our lead, then go subscribe to CJ's channel. We certainly encourage it. I'll even tell you, we're doing a preview show tonight, so this won't have run yet. This will probably come out on Thursday morning. But I think Florida State plays this close. I do think they cover the spread. I'm at 30-21 right now. I think Bama finds a way to win. I do think they're a little more talented. I'd love to be wrong here. So I said mine first so that people wouldn't yell at you if they get mad at whatever prediction you make. But what is your gut as of Wednesday night when we record this?
Yeah, so I had a lot of people kind of disappointed me a little bit from my earlier my show as well. I try to keep my bias a little bit, but I do think, like I said, if you want to play an Alabama team, this is the perfect time to play an Alabama team. First game of the season before things really get rolling. New quarterback starting on the road in a hostile environment. I have Alabama winning 27-20. I do think, like you said, FSU plays it pretty close, but Alabama just has too much talent all around from top to bottom, and it shows throughout the four-quarter game. I think FSU plays well. Crowd gets it going, but I got Alabama winning 27-20. Like you, I would love to be wrong, but I do think this, and I know a lot of fans are kind of saying this is make or break game, this, that, and the third. Now, if we just go out there and have a UGA performance, then I agree, but it's not a make or break game. We have, 11 games left on the schedule with a lot left to play within this. And like TJ stated, we're talking about a team that's on paper a top 1 or 2 talented team within the country. Yeah. And there's only probably 3 teams I would probably pick personally to pick over Alabama on any given Saturday. So again, this isn't a make or break game for FSU, but it could in a good way get the season started in a very positive way. So we'll see how it plays out.
Yeah, I think the road trip to Clemson is very tough. Playing in the Swamp is going to be tough. I do still think playing against Miami is going to be tough. If you go out and lose to Bama by a touchdown or less, or even 10 points or less, and you keep it pretty respectable, I'm not here for the moral victory crap, but there won't be another team on the schedule. I think they're more talented than Clemson. Playing at Clemson is tougher, right? And I think Clemson's got a better quarterback situation. But there won't be another game on the schedule where you play a team that is more talented, or you won't have a chance to go out and win. Now, conversely, you go out and lose by 30, yes, we're going to be questioning every game for the rest of the schedule. But I'm not for the moral victories. I'm not saying it's okay to lose, but you go out there and look respectable. You'll have a better feeling about the rest of the year. And listen, yeah, don't yell at me and CJ for the predictions because we're going to be there yelling our heads off. So it ain't our fault, man. We're going to do our job on Saturday afternoon. If you want to yell at CJ, though, they got a tailgate going too. So go buy a ticket and yell at him in person for his. Don't be a keyboard warrior. Go pay money and yell at him in person. So
yeah, I have a thick skin, so definitely pull up to the tailgate and let me have it.
CJ, thanks for hanging out, man. Again, go subscribe to Doak Talk, and man, good luck, and we'll see you on Saturday.
Always a pleasure, TJ.